All right. Drizzle. What's going down, YouTube, Facebook? What? What? We live right now, man. We live. We live, man. We getting it in, man. We getting it in. One more again? Yeah, I think we go one more again. Nah, man, stop. Come on, YouTube. All right. We're trying to get a chance. We gotta get up in here, but we about to get started anyway. We got to get started anyway. We about to get started anyway. All right, man. Welcome to the Too Much Moxie podcast. I'm your humble host, Too Much. Y'all see who's with me, my co-host, Walt D, certified in a lot of things, but that's not important. And we got a show for y'all, man. We're gonna go in. We're not gonna try to go too long. We're not gonna try to long stroke you guys today, man, but we're gonna try to get it in, man. We got a video, do another Kevin Samuels review. What's the comment? We got a comment? Somebody left a comment? Or is that just okay, good. We got a comment. All right, cool. Shout out to Robin checking us out. Appreciate it. So here's where we are right now, man. Y'all see the title? Y'all see the thumbnail? Are modern women ready for marriage? Are modern women ready for marriage, man? A young lady calls into the show to criticize the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. Now, notice that, it always amazes me, Walter, right? We do a lot of these podcasts, we're on TikTok frequently. You run the OD and AK podcast on TikTok. So shout out to the OD and AK podcast. Guess what? They're also on YouTube, man. Free publicity right here. Go subscribe to the OD and AK podcast on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed on their TikTok, go subscribe on TikTok. I'm telling you, lots of game, lots of game. So after you speak to so many women, so many men, it's almost like laughable, right? That these women come up and they try to quiz you, or they try to rebuttal you, or they try to act like they're some special little unicorn, like you haven't heard their story before. Lady, we've talked to thousands of women, thousands of men. Listen, I'm not a relationship expert, but I'm a relationship expert now. How about that? I've talked to so many women. I've talked to so many men. There's nothing you can tell me anymore. Now, I'm not saying I can't learn anything, but man, let me tell you something. This is not rocket science. It's relationship 101. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna let our brother Kevin Samuels break this lady down, and we're gonna try to respond to some of the points. But shout out to our brother Kevin Samuels, man. But the game is elevated. And I wish our brother was still here because he'd be right there elevating the game. Y'all know Kevin Samuel's going to be a passport, bro. Y'all know it. You come into money, it's only a matter of time before you travel. And then when you see what your options is outside, that's just what it is. So I'm sorry for all the ladies here in America who are complaining about men. At this point, it doesn't really matter because men are checking out, and men who have the means are flying out. They're not getting flowed out, but they're flying out. And most men are looking to stay out. You know, most men
You
are
know
looking
what's
to stay.
crazy about that, brother? Though, is a lot of men. Everybody thinks that we're just checking out from a relationship standpoint, but we're also checking out from a professional standpoint and other standpoints like that. Because when you just said, "Oh, I'm not a relationship expert," right, and you are now, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I don't to the modern woman, it doesn't matter if you're a relationship expert or not. If you're not a relationship expert, they're going to say, oh, where's your certification? Where's your degree? Blah, blah, blah. But if you are a relationship expert and you have the degrees and certification, they're still going to say, oh, well, you wrong because this source is this, statistics that. So it doesn't matter. They don't care. It doesn't matter about how much you know. They don't care.
they
They
just
just
don't.
need to push an agenda. So that's something that we need to know.
Yeah, a lot of these women, they're pushing the entities, the corporation, the government, the music industry, Hollywood. They're pushing all these Democrat, they're pushing all these agendas, man. They're just being led. See, they say they don't want to be led. They say they want to be independent, but they're not. They're depending upon the American system because you cannot travel overseas and do what you do over there that you do over here. Your lifestyle you live here is special, it's unique, it's it can only happen here. You understand? See, a man can be a man anywhere. A man can be a man anywhere. But a woman, you can only be an independent woman in a first world country. You can only say the horrendous things that you guys say on social media to men in passing only in a first world country because you do that in a second or third world country, you might get them, you might get them paws put on you. Some men don't take kindly to women putting their finger in their face and wagging it. Some men don't take kindly to women raising their voice. Some men don't take kindly to women putting their hands on them. Some men don't take kindly when they see women walking down the street dressing provocative and looking promiscuous. Some villages, you know, you ever heard of mob justice? You'll get dealt with. You'll get dealt with swiftly, swifter than the police can do it. There's an incident going on. I just saw it on TikTok. I'm not knowledgeable about it. I just know a little bit about it. I just saw it on TikTok of a young lady, right, named Evan Okur in Nigeria. Now She's a Nollywood movie star out there. She entered into a podcast. She divorced her husband, and the reasons that she divorced her husband, there was no reason for her to divorce her husband, but she divorced him anyway. And then she got on this podcast and bad mouthed that guy. She didn't have to. She bad mouthed him. I mean, she bad mouthed him. She could have just let it go. She was there to promote her up and coming movie, but she decided to turn. They asked her why. They asked her a question: why did she divorce her husband? And instead of keeping it cordial, right, keeping it PC, she went off on a tangent. And you know what happened to that young lady? You know what happened to that young lady? They bulldozed her house. Now, of course, we can't do that in America. We can't bulldoze your house for making uh, misandry comments, right? For bad mouthing your ex husband that you had no reason to divorce based on scriptural guidelines. Let's just go scriptural, right? Based on the scripture, there was no grounds for divorce. But let me tell you what happened. Let me attempt to tell you what happened. And I don't know anything about the story. But a lot of times, when women get careers, they put their careers above their family. Now, I told you she's a Nollywood star, Evan Okoro. She was making money. She built her own. She built her dream house. She built her house from scratch. She built her house and her mom's house. She built her mom's house in another province and built her house in this province. I think it's the northern province of Nigeria. I think they do things differently in the northern province of Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. So she built her house there in the northern province in Nigeria. And they didn't like how she got on that podcast and bad mouthed her husband like that. They didn't like it. And they evicted her. And they evicted her by bulldozing her house. And she could do nothing about it. She was crying. She said everything she hard earned worked for was put into that house. Imagine everything you work for, ladies, men, and you say one thing on the internet and it's all get taken away. Now we're used to that kind of sort of here in the West, right? We're used to that kind of sort of here, right? You say some things on the internet, especially that's not feminist friendly, and they can somewhat try to go after you and cancel you. We saw a young man on the Pop the Balloon. I know y'all know the young man Aaron, right? He went on the Pop the Balloon and he started telling women what time it is. They called him sassy, right? But he said, hey, I'm just standing on what I stand on. You know what they did? They went after that brother and tried to fire him. Now, I don't know.
No, they did fire. They did get him fired. He was like a plumber or something. They got him fired and he had to start a GoFundMe account.
Yeah, now I heard that it was a hoax. Like he didn't really get fired, or maybe after the publicity, the job didn't all the way fire him. So I don't know if that's true. I got to do some more research in that, but that's neither here or there. The point is, there was phone calls being made, over 500 to a man's job, and he did nothing wrong but go home with the baddest one in the room, who happened to be a gold digger later on, and he had to get rid of her, right? But it amazes me how a lot of these females, they get up on here and they talk about God and Jesus. Are you a man of God? But when it comes down to it, it's really they just want money. They want you to be a man of God because they don't want you to harm them, right? Because they know a man of God's not going to put his hands on a woman. But at the end of the day, she's a snake and she's looking for a payday. So a man of God, she's assuming, oh, a man of God, he's not gonna trip if I, I'm gonna pretend this way and then I'm gonna show him the true me and he can't do anything. And she's hoping that she extracted money out of him before he figured out that, hey, she's a snake. So you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful out there, man. So before I drag it on too long, let's get into the topic. Are modern women ready for marriage? This is a Kevin Samuels reaction video. Shout out to our brother, Kevin Samuels. Y'all check the video out. We're going to stop it periodically, make comments, and just kind of give you the gist of what we feel is going on in this video. But let's see how our brother, Kevin Samuels, handled it. Let's bring him up on the screen. And let's go from there.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. What's the disagreement?
Can I request not to be on YouTube, please?
Sure. What's the issue?
Already a red flag for me. I would have put her on YouTube. I would have said, no, you can't come on my show unless you cam up. That's disingenuous. When you can't cam up, you must know you're going to say something that you don't want people, checking you or holding you accountable for. So my thing is, if you speak in truth, cam up. You stand on business.
Yeah, they just did that on the OD show today. They was like, try to put a whole bunch of stipulations on OD. And then as soon as OD tried to speak or whatever, they was trying to silence him. I was like, y'all can't do that on this show. Come on now.
Yeah, these women don't have decorum. They want men to have decorum. They want men to possess all the restraint, right? But these women don't have restraint. That's the problem. Let's get into it. We're going to give you some solutions of what we think, but we're going to get into this video a little bit. And he's going to tell you, this young lady's going to give her opinion. Let's go.
Thank you. I feel like some of the arguments that you make are unfair, mostly because you blame women a lot for the state of the dating market today. And I think that
give me an example of what you're talking about.
Saying that women today are not ready to be wives, I think is not fair.
Based upon what?
Based upon, I understand that there's a sector of women who aren't ready to be married, but I think that making that general statement is not fair toward women.
Oh, okay, first off, are generalizations fair?
No.
Bullshit.
Well,
bullshit. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Bullshit.
You see what we're going through here, Walt? A lot of these women are immature. A lot of these women just make up things as they go along, and they think because they say something, it's right. Generations are not fair. Generations are not fair. What world do that lets us know exactly what world she lives in, right? When someone says generations are not fair,
it's another trick because well, you know, I be on social media, on TikTok, on different type of shows, right? I seen the same people like that, the same modern women be okay with generalizations from shows and podcasts that are for the modern woman, but as soon as they get on somebody else's podcast that disagree, now all of a sudden generalizations are not fair. I bet money that if we were to go see that lady talking to Kelvin Samuels talk somewhere else, she'd be okay with generalizations somewhere else.
Of course they are. They're good with generalization because they do it. Right? They generalize all men all the time. Like I had to, like even on the ODNAK podcast, right? I had to debunk a woman, right? I had to, she tried to say that most men are bad. There aren't any good men out there. So let's debunk that right now. We're going to get into that today. Women like to say that the reason why they're not getting married, or they're not looking for marriage, or they're not wife material is because there aren't any good men out there. Well, we debunked that, right? We debunked it to the point, and I'm not going to go into it, but we debunked to the point where we deduced it to that there are more good men out there than there are bad men. How do we know that? Just in the black community, let's look at the Pookie and the Ray Rays. Are the Pookies and the Ray Rays a lot? No. 16% of men are who the black women are sleeping with. 16% of black men. And they all fit the category of Pookie and Ray Rays. These are the ones that are creating single mothers. And they're all sleeping with these same men. 16% of men, would you agree that's small?
Yeah, here's the thing. They're not a lot, but they're being chosen a lot. Big difference.
Come on. That's why I got the Walt D on here. They're being chosen a lot. So bad men are being chosen a lot, but there really are more good men than bad men. 61%, 63% of black men are in the middle class or rich. Out of those 61%, 30% are married.
But here's the thing, though, that their numbers are growing because just like there's a fast food restaurant on every corner now, everybody started choosing fast food for like the dumbest reason, right? So we have to look at those Pookie and Ray Rays like fast food. You know, they're like, oh, it looks good, it tastes good, it's fast, blah, blah, blah. That's what these modern women are doing with the Pookie and Ray Ray. Oh, they look good, they seem strong, even though I'm mistaking ignorance for strength and blah, blah, blah. And then they want to get mad when the fast food gives them diabetes, gives them cancer, gives them overweight and whatever. It's because you're choosing fast food a lot. And it shows in your life. If you choose organic food, and that's one of the reasons why. this is one of my pet peeves, not to make the show run longer, but this is one of my pet peeves. I'll find a product. It'll say it doesn't have this chemical. It doesn't have that chemical. It's a good, healthy product. And then I see the product, I buy a lot of it, and I see the product starting to go out of business and not sell because people don't want that. And then they discontinue it. And now one of my favorite products I can't even buy anymore. That's how the modern woman treats the decent man.
Come on. Facts. Hey, man, we love Walt D on this show, man, because he's spitting that facts, man. And that's just what it is, man. A lot of these women, it's not that they're not, they're definitely not marriage material. I'm going to answer that question right now. Modern women, are they ready for marriage? No, they're not. They're not marriage material. They're not raised to be wise. So how can they be ready? They feel like, and I'm using their words, they feel like they can get ready just like that. But they have no home training and no preparation up to. You women, y'all need etiquette classes. Y'all need femininity classes. Y'all need help. And here's the thing. Sitting on the couch, laying down with your feet up, talking to a therapist, probably not really going to solve your problems because they're just going to give you a pill. So let's continue on. And she's going to go into more details of, what she feels. But Kevin Samuel's going to get in her grill in a minute. Let's go.
Generalizations are fair.
Okay. I'll concede to that.
You better concede.
All right. So saying that women are not ready to be wise, based upon what?
Again, saying that they don't understand submission and being feminine and all of that.
What percentage of women would you say are ready to be wise?
I would say probably like 20%.
Ma'am,
Bingo.
20%.
Bingo. That lets us know right now. So as I was saying, that there are more good men, husband material men, than there are bad men who are not husband material, right? There are more good men than there are bad men. Well, guess what? We figured out in the podcast on TikTok. Guess what we figured out? We figured out that there are more bad women than there are good women. There are more modern women than there are more traditional women. There are more women with high body counts, and there are less women with zero or low body counts. So if we want to deduce it, it's not there's not good men out there. There's not good women out there. Not good wife material women. There are masculine women pursuing careers. There's highly educated women out there who are pursuing careers. But there is not that many wives who want to focus on the family, the children, the husband, and make their life better. See, more women, they don't want to do that job. They don't want to do the job of raising a family. They want to go out there and compete with the man in the market and try to make money. They are incentivized by money. Women are incentivized. See, most people think men are driven by money. Men aren't driven by money. Money's good. I mean, money's a byproduct, help to get things, but men are not really driven by money. But you know who's driven by money? Women. You know why they're driven by money? Because they don't understand money. They think money is power. But let me tell you something. Money is a byproduct of the power. It's not first you get the money, then you get the power. It's DJ, we got to go back. DJ Quick had to explain it for us. First you get the power, then you get the money. Fool don't be no dummy. See, women, if you fall in love with the giver of the gift, not the gifts. See, women fall in love with the material and not the not the organic. So if you fall in love with the organic man and not the materialized man that you create in your head that gives you all these things and feeds your addictions, you have a much more healthier relationship. And that's coming from a man who's not a relationship coach.
Yeah, but ain't it funny? Isn't it funny how her own feminist values contradicted herself, made her look like a hypocrite? Because she was trying to say that the 20% was because the feminist women or certain women don't want to be married, right? But what she didn't realize, what she did was she kind of told on herself and told on those women, like, if they don't want to be married, then that almost automatically makes them marriage material. Why? Because they're not training in that. You would not put a basketball player on your team if he didn't train in basketball. You know what I'm saying? So why would you count a feminist or a modern woman as a woman that's able to get married if she's not training in that? So she just set herself up. That was so hilarious.
Facts. Let's get back to some more of the video. And Kevin Samuel, Kevin Samuel, sometimes he likes to slow cook and sometimes he likes to cut you off at the juggling. He's slow cooking her. He's using her for all the content today. Well, let's get into it.
Out of 100%, if 80% are not, that means you just made my freaking point.
Okay, but
no. Let's before we move, let's acknowledge the math. You can't. The math ain't mathing. You said that you're making an unfair generalization. Then I asked you if you thought generalizations are fair. You said no, and then we had to go acknowledge the fact that it's bullshit. If the majority of something is true, it doesn't have to be 100%. 51% will do. That's the majority.
Come on.
The presidency is decided by that little of a margin. Okay? That's how the world works. And then I'm asking you, the person that says, I make the unfair generalization about a group of women, you tell me that 20% of said women are ready to be wives. That means you agree with me.
Okay, but also, I would say,
does the math support my logic?
Yeah. Okay. I'll agree with you on that point. Yes.
Okay.
But I also would caveat that with the fact that most men aren't ready to be husbands either.
Doesn't matter.
Uh-oh. Gotta talk about that. Most men aren't ready to be husbands. Well, I gotta qualify that, Walt D. What category of men are not fit to be husbands, or are not ready to be husbands, or don't want to be husbands? Well, if I'm just graduating from high school and I'm a man, and I'm told I need to figure out life, if I'm in my 20s and I ain't got life figured out yet, I'm probably not ready to be married. See, here's the thing. This is what the ladies are mad about. They're mad that they have to be ready to get married by 18 to 25, and men don't. And they're mad because they want to choose their age mate, right? They want to choose their peer. They want to choose somebody in their age bracket, and they want to marry that man. So they're upset. So they're like, well, shoot, if my peer, who I'm supposedly equal to, even though he's a man, he can go out there and have fun in his 20s, sow his seed like Johnny Appleseed. Why can't I? It's just not fair. It's just not fair. It's just not fair that I have to be ready to be a wife by 25, and that men have a longer window to wait until they want to develop or become a husband. It's not fair, Walt D. It's not fair. It's not fair. That's what they say.
Bro, it's not fair to the men. But that was well said though. Like, it's not fair to the men because I mean, I hate to sound redundant, but what if all you're eating is fast food every week? What percentage of that fast food is going to bring you health? What percentage of that fast food is going to not cause you cancer? What percentage of that fast food is not going to give you diabetes, right? Hardly any of it will. So it depends on what you pick up. That they're picking up a bad product via their own prerogative and using that as the measuring stick to say, oh, all men aren't anything, all men aren't ready, the majority of men aren't ready, because it's the majority of men that they pick, it's the majority of men from their prerogative. They're mad, but that's why they get mad when they see a traditional woman who has a good man, because they're like, oh, how'd you get that? How'd you get that? And then the traditional woman would say, hey, well, you got to move like how I move. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then they go right back to the fat. It's like saying, oh, I can't eat healthy. I just can't eat healthy. And then they go right back to the fast food complaining. So that's all it is. It depends on their circle and what they're building.
Facts. Man, I miss Kevin Samuels. I really do, man. I miss how the brother just got put on a suit every day and got millions of women to call in and talk to him. And he schooled them. Schooled them. It was masterful. Masterful. I don't know if we'll see anything like it again. But let's continue with the video, man. Man, these women, they live in La La Land. Let's just call it what it is. And they need to be put back into reality. And this is what our brother Kevin Samuels does. He snaps you right back into reality. Let's go.
Okay, and
Doesn't matter. Men have longer to wait. Men have
Okay.
longer lives.
Longer lives, baby.
See, what you've just proven
Break it down.
is you're arguing in bad faith. You don't like the facts.
They
And
hate
then
facts.
it's, I know you are, but what am I?
Come on.
So what? If men aren't ready, all men have to be ready for is what percentage of women? All 100% of men have to be ready for is what percent of women?
20%. Come on. Say
for
it.
the 20%.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right.
So
Okay,
is it that I'm unfair?
well, it's just the way that the arguments are framed, saying that
They're framed in logic.
Come
They're
on.
framed in statistics,
Come
data,
on.
facts, observable reality, things
Come
you can go
on.
see for yourself.
Hold
Get
on.
it?
Stop it right
you
there,
went
though.
under
Stop it
the
right there.
assumption that all the men are out here.
Let me stop it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on, Kevin.
He said, like we're supposed to pick up where Kevin Samuels left off, right? So he said her argument and stuff is not framed in logic, is not framed in statistics, right? So let's take it a step further. What is it framed in? Where is she getting this from? She's not getting it from healthy sources. There we go with the fast food again. She's getting it
Come
from
on.
entities. She's getting it from TV. She's getting it from the government. She's getting it from
Social
biased
media.
people who took over positions in law, in legislature, in the media. So it lets you know what she's consuming. So I had to stop it there and build upon that, because Kevin Samuels is saying where it's not coming from, but we need to say where it is coming from so we could call out those sources, so that
Come on.
we could show that those sources that these women are getting that from is bad.
Come on. I'm not going to say nothing. Cosmopolitan. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say nothing. Magazine. We're not going to say nothing. Desperate Housewives. Atlanta Housewives of Atlanta. We're not going to say anything. Sexy Red Sukiyama. Oh. Nicki Minaj. What are you consuming, lady, and who are you listening to? Are you listening to men's empowerment music, or are you listening to trash? Shout out to Men's Empowerment Music. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to that new YouTube channel. We're also on TikTok. We're also on IG. Soon we'll be on Twitter or X and Facebook. But for now, we're on IG, TikTok, and YouTube. Check out our new channel, Men's Empowerment Music. If you're a man out there, you want to get the game, you want to do it in in a musical way. You know, the best way to learn something and to let it get into your soul is through music. And why not get this positive message and let's reprogram you for the traditional man you should be, not the modern man they want you to be. Okay? Let's reprogram you. But Kevin Samuels, giving out the game, man. God bless that brother. Man, I wish he was still here. I'm so mad. I'm so mad, man. I'm so mad. Because if Kevin was here, I wouldn't have to be here. I wouldn't have to be here, man. God. We miss Kevin. Let's go.
I
Looking
What are
don't
you
live
forward
talking
under the
about?
assumption. I said that we don't have enough wives for men to be husbands. And
Everybody
you
needs it
just
too
said
much.
20% of women.
That's right.
Don't tell me what I did when you tell me 2 out of 10 already.
Okay, I would argue that 2 out
2
of
out of
10
10.
men are ready to be
I
husbands.
don't care. It doesn't matter.
And that's a lie.
See, it's one of these things of, well, women are.
Let's debunk that real quick. She said, I would say, even though, see, what Kevin Samuels is showing her that 2 out of 10 is equal. If I got 2 out of 10 men ready for marriage, and there's only 2 out of 10 women who are ready for wives, that cancels out each other. But here's the problem. It's not 2 out of 10. It's 2 out of 10 women are wives, but it's really more like 4, 5, 6 out of 10 brothers are ready to be married. And in that sense, there's not enough women to go around. In that sense, you notice why traditional women, they don't stay on the market long. They get married. They get wifed up like that. And these women can't
With the
understand.
quickness.
They can't understand that these women are just getting wifed up. Like they can't understand that their Jewish friends are getting their YT friends, their Latina friends. You know, black women are they're just sitting around watching everybody else get married, or they're watching a old 304 retire with a simp. That's what they do. There's so, you know, in the black community, I see so many late marriages nowadays. Man, late marriage. And it's always some old 304. I used to be passed around the block. I got 5, 6 kids, and now I'm going to blend this family with this square, this L7, this lame that I wouldn't get with when my youth, but I want in my older years. You find a lot of those marriages, but those marriages, let's be real, those marriages don't really last either. They're just for show. These women end up cutting it up. I just seen one of my homegirls I went to high school with. You know, she was married, right? Has kids. You know where she's at right now? She's single and right back in the club. Twerking.
That's because there's not enough simps to go around. Because remember that lady that I showed you? She had kids by what, like 3 different baby daddies, and she found an old simp. But man, why are these old simps rescuing them like that? Like, it doesn't make any sense, because all they're doing is just giving a bad example for young men.
Yes, yes. You know, I hate to say it, man, but there are a lot of old simps. There are a lot of and I'm not saying, listen, simps are good men, but they're bad for the dating market. Let me specify that. Simps are good men. They're just bad for the dating market, right? Because they don't stand up for themselves. They don't speak directly to women. They're more prone to lie and accept things that real men won't accept. And these women think because they find these men that will accept that, hey, they can do this with all men, or that all men should be like this, right? Even the preferred men, the top tier men, they want them to be kind of simpish in the long run. They want. Let me tell you what women don't want men to be smart. They want men to be strong, protective, like guard doggish, but they don't want them to have any standard. They don't want them to really lead anything. They just want them to look the part of a leader, but they don't want them to actually lead. That's what they want. And that's why a lot of men, which we're not taking these women seriously. We're just not. It's not gonna happen. We're not taking them seriously. So anything you want to add to that, Walter? Okay, hold on.
Nah,
I was
I
trying to.
mean that's about it. Like you put it right. The Sims that I mean they're good in a way, but then they're bad in a way, and so I can't. The way you put it was well said.
Thank you, brother. I'm having some problems, so let me see if it'll play. There we go. All right.
Wait, with the video?
Yeah, I'm trying to play the video right now, and it's buffering. I don't know what's going on. It's just buffering.
Yeah, it's just
Why is the video buffering? Man, so we're clear, but the video is not clear. So that's my, I want to do a full Kevin Samuels reaction, but I'll just give y'all the gist of it. I mean, I guess we can go. I guess we can move over into solutions, right? I mean, since this video is going to give us problems, I think it's just good. I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the video, and I think it's more my computer than anything. Let me do this here. Yeah, I think my computer. I think so. What's going on is my computer's getting hot. My computer's getting hot. Can y'all still hear me? Can you still hear me, Walter?
I can hear you. I just can't see you. Yeah, Kevin Samuels be cooking them though.
So I think my systems are getting fried. Let me do this. All right. Can y'all hear me? Okay, we're just gonna go with this, man. For some reason, I think my laptop got hot. I think it's that hot in California right now, and I think it fried my laptop. But it's all good. It's all good. So while my laptop is thinking and wondering what's going on, uh, let's get back to it. We're done with the Kevin Samuels video. Right? We're done with that. So what we're going to talk about is why these women are not ready for marriage. Are modern women ready for marriage? No. And the reason is they're not raised to be. I mean, we kind of said it. They're not raised to be married. A lot of them don't want to be wives. They want to be men, right? A lot of these women don't care about taking care of the family and the children, right? Because if we're being honest, you really don't. A lot of you women really don't love your kids. You love yourself. You become. The Bible says it. So you'll become lovers of self more than lovers of God. You'll become lovers of self more than lovers of your children and lovers of your husband. That's why women say, my happiness is everything. My happiness is important, right? Because you don't really, if your happiness is important, you don't really have love in your heart. It used to be that women love their children unconditionally. Today's women, they don't. They throw their kids to the babysitter in 2.5 seconds. They'll throw their kids to the school system in 2.5 seconds. They'll throw their kids in jail in 2.5 seconds. They don't care to be around and raise these kids. Listen, to women, kids are slaves. They work for them. You will have the mother, and she'll be a single mother. She's gonna have that son taking out the trash. She's gonna have that son climbing up walls. She's gonna have that son protecting. She's gonna have that son, getting a job early and paying bills. You see, these women, they want to use things as tools. That's what they want to do. They want to use men as tools, as wrenches, right? As hammers, right? And they need you there so you can scare off other men from thinking they can attack them. You're there to scare off the big masculine woman that eats fried pickles and Kool-Aid and picks on the pretty women. You're there to scare that woman off. I say this all the time, right? Listen, if we lock two women up in the room, two women enter, one woman leaves. That's what's going to happen. It's blood sport for these women. 90% of lesbian relationships are DV. So imagine if all the men left and we left the women in power, how much DV will be, how much real power and authority will be, how much slavery will really be in effect, right? Because all the big, burly, masculine women will enslave the pretty women. And you'll become a concubine to one of these masculine, burly women. That's it. But you get mad when men do it. At least men have a structure and an order to how they do things. There's no order with women. It's just how they feel. So let's talk about we got maybe 10 minutes left. Let's talk about some solutions, right? We know that women are not ready to be married. We know that men in their 20s are not looking to be married. Not a lot of them anyway. And they shouldn't be. We know that women, they need to be dating 5, 10, 15, as high as 20 years older. We know that. But what it comes down to is, why are the women not doing it?
Man, it basically comes down to it because they're not listening to tradition anymore. They're not listening to culture anymore. They're only listening to the people that's saying do otherwise. Remember, I mean, I'm sounding redundant again, but go back to Emperor's New Clothes, right? If they said, "Oh, King, you'll look good in this, you'll look good in that," but they're doing it to the women. "Oh, Queen, you look good doing this, you look good doing that," and meanwhile, that they just robbing her, and then she go out naked, like looking like a fool. Same thing with the fast food thing. The fast food commercial says, "Hey, yeah, come get this juicy fast food. It has this and it has that. It's just so delicious." The commercial says, "Come get it." They'll come get it, even though the doctor and the health person says, "Nah, don't go get that." Don't. But you're like, "But the commercial is so shiny." So that's what it is.
Right. So how do we get? So do we? Let me tell you. Let's talk high level men talk real quick, because we already know what's going on. I mean, you have a daughter. Your daughter's right behind you there. You have a daughter. What is your expectation um, for your daughter in today? So your daughter will be 18 in how long?
8 years.
So what is your expectation in 8 years after she graduates? What do you want? How is she going to be suitable and ready for a man before she's 25? Because this is the only thing we can do. Only thing we can do is, especially Generation X, those who have sons and daughters, hopefully they're not already grown. That means you didn't start too young, right? But how can we what can we instill in our daughters so that they will be most likely chosen earlier rather than later? And how do we get our daughters to want to be chosen earlier rather than the societal norms today, which tries to tell them go get a job, education, go get an education, a job, a career, and then maybe there's a family waiting for you in your 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. How do we reverse that?
We can only reverse that by having them train on it in culture. That's really the only way. Because if you're not training in it, you're never going to be it. And so what I do is, because I hate to say it, but I just have to be real. Like, her mom is a modern woman out there, working, doing her thing. Her mom's mom was a modern woman, and both like single for the rest of their life and blah blah blah. And so I was like, look, whatever they're doing, fine. But I show my daughter, here, go over your grandma's house. Your grandma could teach you how to. My mom taught her how to cook, how to sew. My daughter's 10 years old. She just made spaghetti for the house yesterday.
Okay.
And I teach her how to cook too. And so she spends time on video chat with my wife from Nigeria, with my wife from Africa. She's learning that, like, now, ever since she's been spending the time with my wife in Nigeria, she looks at a lot of things over here like, man, what's going on? Because especially being taught by my mom as well. Like, here, you need to cook this. You need to put up your stuff. You need to, like, when she's out there, she sees the other younger girls that don't know how to cook, don't know how to clean, don't have skills, and then she sees the African culture as well. Wow, she's like, she's walking around looking at everybody else like she's a warden in an insane asylum.
Mm.
Like, damn, okay. But I'm glad that I'm different. And so I think that's the only way, because you have to put somebody in an environment where they could learn those traditional values. And I'll end it by saying this. You could take, say you took two kids, two identical twins. One twin you gave to a family where they pay for music classes, pay for special classes outside of school, pay for sports, and blah, blah, blah. That kid's going to have a ton of tools because they're cultured in that, right? But let's say the other kid, you just give that other kid to like a single mom family or something where the mom don't have time for the kid, doesn't put the kid in music, doesn't put the kid in sports, blah, blah, blah. Which kid is going to turn out better? The kid who's been given the culture and given the tools. And so the only way you could turn the modern woman better if you give her the culture, give her the tools, and she's willing to accept that over the things of the world and the entities.
Well said, man. I couldn't have said any better myself. I think the only way we can change these women is that they still have to be in their adolescence. They still have to be young women. And then we have to train them up before they even get into high school. Before they even get into junior high school. We have to start instilling this training into our daughters. And then even with the men. You don't just throw men out there and say, become a man. Yeah, he'll figure it out because men have logic. Eventually, they'll pick up on social cues. Eventually, they'll pick up on, red flags and whatnot, right? But, learning by experience is rough. You're a wild dog until society accepts you. So other men have to come in and show men. And the first line of defense is the father. The first man that any man or any woman should meet is their father. We need fathers back in the home. So we need men not being promiscuous like women. We need men with sexual discipline. We need men who are not having babies out of wedlock. We need men who want a family, who want a legacy. And then we need those men to think beyond family. And like I said, I always say, move into clan mentality. Leaders talk to leaders. We don't talk down, we talk up. We talk either eye view or up. And we got to start having these high level conversations with each other to sharpen each other's skills and get tight. We can't afford, listen, if you get emotion every time I criticize you, that's a defect, brother. That's a defect. You got to be able to stand on business. You got to be able to recognize when you're wrong and make changes. Right? You can't sit. We can't afford to try to change your psyche like a woman. We can't afford to change your psyche like a woman. We can't afford it. So we need men. We need y'all to be able to respond to simple and direct, because that's how men communicate. That's the best way of communication: simple and direct.
Hey, brother, can I ask you a question on what you said earlier?
Go ahead.
You said that it was rough on a man to learn on the fly, because in the past, we learned on the fly and it was rough, but we still made it. But can you tell the audience why it is bad in this day and age to learn on the fly if you have a modern woman, or learn on the fly having a modern woman? Why it is so rough to learn on the fly with a modern woman,
Man,
having a modern woman?
let me tell you something, man. The nagging is real. The challenging is real. The disagreeableness is real. It's difficult for a man to learn when you got somebody in your ear feeding you negative advice all the time. Difficult for a man to grow when you have a woman who, or you got real problems to put out, right? Real fires to put out. But you're worried about your woman at home who might be cheating because she's a modern woman. So it takes away all your focus from developing yourself. And now you're worried about preventing something that you really can't prevent, because she's going to do it if she wants to do it. And then you're making yourself look weak to that woman because she knows now that you care. Caring is not necessarily a weakness, but you need to learn nonchalant. All men need to learn nonchalant. Care without caring. The art of fighting without even fighting. Bruce Lee. See that mind trick right there? You got to learn the art of fighting without fighting. You got to learn the art of caring without caring. Because all those things are weaknesses to women. Believe it or not, they say, oh, I want a man to show more emotions. Women lie. They just lie. They don't really know what they want. Today, they feel like they want a man with emotions. Tomorrow, they feel like they want a stoic man. Today, they feel like they want a more effeminate man. Tomorrow, they want a masculine man. And usually when they want the masculine man, it's too late. It's too late. They done already went through the cock carousel. They done already did all the twerking. They done already did all the TikTok videos hating on men. It's too late. They already done raised up a tribe of bastards, right? It's too late. It's too late. And I know, I'm sorry. I know that modern women, they hate when I call a spade a spade. Listen, I got to speak sharp and true and honest, right? Or else you guys will just go through life thinking it's okay. If you are a single mother and that man and that father's not in that child's life, guess what your child's called? Go look up the definition of bastard. Go look it up. And guess what? I didn't make him a bastard, but you did. You can blame that man all he wants to, that he left, he didn't want to be with you anymore. You can point the finger at that man, right? But those kids that were supposed to be a gift for that man is no longer a gift. It's now his curse. Because now those kids are going to grow up hating that man, disrespecting that man, until he dies. Let's be real, until he dies. They put a camera on these kids and be like, hey, how's your relationship with your father? What father? You wasn't around. Not knowing that your mother drove him out. Not knowing that the mom made it difficult for that man. Not knowing that the mom, made sure she extracted all kind of finance for that man that never even saw the kid. All these things. See, mothers make themselves out to be the innocent ones, the ones that can do no wrong. And as children, you're going to believe the mother. Why? Because she's very manipulative and she's very seductive. And she's going to play the victim card. She's going to cry. She's going to use her emotions to make you believe what she's saying is true. But just because somebody uses their emotions doesn't make it true. A sign of crying doesn't mean anything. I may be crying because I'm sad. I may be crying because I'm happy.
But
But
also, they don't just use emotions. They also use false logic that doesn't make any sense. Remember when I was saying, like, oh, what does the color blue smell like and stuff like that? That's the kind of stuff that they be on, because it's like, I got a church woman like this before. She said, if only I had a man that could lead, I would be good, right? But I told her, I said, excuse me, ma'am. I did a Kevin Samuels. I said, ma'am, describe to me what kind of man that you want. I want a man that says, oh, okay. So do you want a man that has this quality, this quality, this quality? No, he sounds weak. He sounds like I need a strong man, right? And I said, okay, well, the qualities I just described to you was the qualities of Yeshua, Jesus, what Yeshua's is real name. So I said, you just dismissed all the virtuous qualities of Yeshua. The same reason why the people didn't want to follow him, right? And you just called all the qualities of Yeshua weak and lame. But no, that's not. No, I said I just described you how Yeshua was. These qualities, right? And you just said he was weak and lame. So I said, you need to understand what leadership is. You don't know what leadership is. There's a lot of modern women saying that I'm not submitting to my man because he can't lead, just because he's a chill man, or just because he's a methodical man. Not understanding the strength in chill, not understanding the strength in methodical, and not understanding the strength in being about what you say. And what was the verbiage that you used for your show? The man has to be what you said about his word, intentional.
Intentional, yes. Yeah.
You could have a man that's intentional on peace, or you could have a man that understands the man code of respect. Women don't understand the man code of respect, and they just be mouthing off, right? And then they get mad at the man, like, how come you didn't do anything? And the brother's like, man, I have a whole world to deal with that you don't even know. You can get away with doing that. You can get away with mouthing off like that.
Come on.
But I can't as a man, because it's going to cost me. You don't care if it costs somebody money. You don't care if it costs somebody's job. You don't care. You just care about how you feel about that at the time. And then you don't want to call me a leader because your feelings disagree with my wisdom. You want to call me a lack of a leader because your feelings disagree with the way I need to go or what God is saying. So, not to cut you off or say all that, but I felt as though that needed to be said, because they cannot identify what a real leader is. And that's why they're not marriage material.
That's exactly what it is. They can't identify what a real leader is, and they try to make Pookies and Ray Rays become somebody they cannot be. They try to turn a blue collar man into the boardroom, and it can't. And that man doesn't want to be. They can't allow a man just to be a man and accept what that man has to offer. They always have to try to turn that man into somebody he's not. And then when they turn him into that man, they don't even want that man, because that's not what they really wanted. The moment you emasculate your man and you simp your man out and you think that's love, it's not. That man doesn't love you. He's being controlled by you. He's being seduced by you, maybe. But that's not love. That man is confused with who he is. Because if he knew who he was, he would run things a whole lot differently. Man, this was a great show, man. This was a great show. We did it. We talked about a lot. There's always some difficulties, but you know what, man? That's to expect, man. We're in 112-degree heat right now. So my laptop just overheated and froze up and shut down. So good thing we got mobile phones. But I don't know, man. Let me see. Do we want to I want to ride out to some music. We gonna ride out. Y'all heard the drizzle drizzle? Y'all go listen to the song on YouTube Music. Y'all go listen to the song on Spotify, Apple iTunes. Y'all check out the new Drizzle Drizzle song that the Too Much Moxie show created. We got some other songs here. But there's two songs that we released, Drizzle Drizzle and Liberation. Voices of Liberation is released on Spotify, YouTube Music, all that. Go check it out. Go check out our new men's empowerment music channel. Check out our men's empowerment music channel. We're quickly going to be filling that up with new music, new genre, quickly. So y'all go check it out. A lot of the music before we release it on iTunes, on Spotify, guess what we're going to release it on? We're going to release it on YouTube first. We're going to let you guys
We got the
listen to it.
comments.
What we got in the comments? Let me see who's in the comments. But hey, that's just me. Hey, I agree with you. I don't want to display your comment up there only because it has some cussing in there. But I understand the sentiment. I understand the sentiment. You know, we don't understand what these modern women are doing, and we know they don't even understand what they're doing. Right? They have no clue of what they're doing. So we're to the point now where our solution is simple, man. We don't have to deal with these women. If we know that only 20% of women are wives, and I don't even think that's even 20% of wives in America, I think it's much lower than that. Probably more like 16, 15%. Probably the same average as the Pookie and Ray Rays. If we know that the 16, 15% are wives and 20% of men are husbands, we're just going to get out of here because men are going to want families. We're wired that way. So whether we wait till we're 40, 50, or 60, we're going to want family. The problem is you women who decide that you guys want family in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's too late. You're not on the same time clock as men. Men age like wine, women age like milk. That's just what it is. So we're gonna ride out to some music, man. I want you guys to go check out our men's empowerment new music channel, right? And just understand that we're doing some phenomenal things over there. We're gonna release a whole bunch of music. We're gonna ride out with the drizzle drizzle. We got other songs on there. Stand tall, be a real man. Cycles of life. Cycles of life talks about the cycles of a man in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. Okay. Stand tall, be a real man talks about it's okay to be masculine. These are songs that we need as men. These are songs that we need as men. We need men empowerment music. So subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to Too Much Moxie Podcast. This has been another episode of Too Much Moxie Podcast, and we are out. Oh, that's a new dance right there. All right, y'all.